I guess I'll start by saying I've always loved the natural world. The world that majors hadn't messed up with their groupthink and their tight-canaled terror of straying more than a claw tip from a river or lake. Since I was a hatchling, I felt that my true home was in the wild. I loved the beings that lived out there, too. I didn't need anybody to tell me they were free, outside of major reach. But unlike the beasts, I was a major born among majors, where I live still, at the edge of the Waterside Woodlands, a medium-sized community of majors. Just another major from many generations of majors who'd laid eggs there by the river since the great beginning, as we all learned from the major being basic knowledge. Majors mighty, masters of the rock and earth, survivors of the great cold, survivors of the great sleep, shrunken, dried, and buried, arose into radiance. On eights we roam, majors mighty, lords of water and sky. You left out the part about the red clouds departing, you know that, right? I said it. I didn't hear it. Well, I can't help that. I said it. It was in there. If you say so. I crapping do say so. What are you listening to my thoughts for, anyhow? Use a private channel if you want private. Blast it, I'll do just that. When you do, be sure to say that part about the clouds because you left it out. Do you mind? I'm trying to work here, trying to earn profits. You like profits, right? Well, then go get juiced somewhere and let me alone. It's my rock, too. Fine. I'll go off and narrate somewhere where there's some crapping peace and quiet. You do that. I will. Great. As I was narrating, before being interrupted by my wife, who, as you can tell, is a sheer joy to try and accomplish something worthwhile around, like earn some decent profits to keep her in moss and lichen that she shoves up her sucker every day, as I was narrating, who can tell how it happened that majors became Earth's dominant species? Most majors aren't exactly keen on scientific inquiry. As long as they have enough morsels around to stick their tubes into, they're good. I highly doubt majors with our soft, lumbering bodies and crap vision got to be the top beasts by sheer physicality. I mean, we're essentially helpless, except for our size and intellect. Other beasts are way stronger. Nearly every beast is faster. All of them can swim, fly, or run, while our top speed is semi-plod. And of course there's our total reliance on staying moist to operate. To my mind, it was some weird twist of nature or freak occurrence that gave us our dominance. Who am I to say? But back to my story. Mine and Nedran's, that is. As I was saying, I grew up in the Waterside Woodland Community, but went off into the wilderness every chance I got. I always felt at total peace in that deep, red world of scrub and plants, all canopied by tree leaves. I sucked my moss juice, got bigger, and played in the woods. I got to know all the beings that roamed there. Some most majors would shy away from. The winged six-legged stingers and the huge horned, bark-munching six-legs that would have swallowed me in a few big chomps if I'd let them. And the no-legs that wound their way through the forest floor, making a meal of the shy two-legs and all the many different four-legs that roamed the wilderness. Obviously, we majors are at the top of the food chain. Our ability to hatch and instantaneously set out on our eights to seek and absorb nutrients, as well as our unmatched intelligence, puts us right at the top of all Earth's beasts. As such, it was totally normal for majors throughout time to hunt lesser beings. I was no different than the next major. As soon as I reached 15 years, I got permission from the Major Commission to seek juice from beings if I so desired. And did I desire? I started my hunting with the no-legs that darted through the rivers. I learned to catch them in nets I wove from vines. Even while I pierced their bodies and drank their juice, I admired their beauty, their shining skins and eye patches. The first beings I made my pets were a pair of these water beings, who instead of juicing, I visited every day, bringing morsels of lichen they snapped up. Soon the two followed me up and down the river, tracking me wherever I went. My next pets were infant forelegs I found in a nest as I napped under a red tree. I'd heard a rustling and looked up, and a tiny gray-furred head popped out from a branch. I uncurled upward and was easily able to reach the branch. I pulled it downward to inspect the pile of leaves and sticks. High-pitched chirps came from inside the pile, and a mass of tiny forelegs shrieked at me with fear. I slipped 2 of them into my slick and took them home to my rock. I built a makeshift nest for the pair nearby and brought them all the morsels I could find, plants and nuts and fruits. I guess I had a talent for it because they survived. When they reached the size of one of my claws, they were full-grown, and I knew it was time to set them free. The 2 gray forelegs had become dependent on me for food, though, and it took the critters weeks before they accepted that the food supply was cut off and moved on, back into the woods, presumably to start a natural life on their own. Or they died out there just as likely. But my feeling is if you can't know a thing for sure, you might as well believe it happened the way you wanted it to.